Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today's tutorial we are going to be working on the matching baby blanket for the raised double crochet set. I will have to say this is probably one of my favorite sets. I love how this set turned out. Super easy pattern. Let's just get straight into it. If you are wanting to follow what I'm using, I used Pound of Love on camera. Lion Brand Pound of Love in the color Antique White, and for the entire set I used 2 skeins. Here is what I got left. And then we are gonna make, go figure, I can't remember, 35, I think it's 35 of these squares using a 5mm hook. I had a brain fart, sorry. And then for the border, we jump up to a 6mm hook, just to help, you know, get these ruffles to lay nice and pretty. All right, and then you are gonna need 4 stitch markers. And I do want to explain that in the video, I did not say this. Well, I do say it, I just say it too late. But what we do is we work 1 round of chain 3s and single crochets. See right here, this is 1 round, and then underneath these ruffles or the shells there's another round, and then we work the shells. So we work 3 rounds on our border. Well, what I tell you too late is that in each corner I want you to mark the single crochet that you work, and you'll understand when you see the pattern, with a stitch marker. It's going to help you so much, and I wish I would have said it sooner, and I apologize, I completely forgot about it. But get 4 stitch markers, and then the size of our whole piece from ruffled edge to ruffled edge, the length is 45 inches, and then the width from ruffle to ruffle is 30 inches. Okay, and then okay, so I think that's everything. I'm going through my notes to make sure I have. So I do want to say I ran this through my washer and dryer. I don't have an agitator in my washer. If you do, I would almost say don't run this through if you have an agitator. Just wash it by hand. If you trust, I don't know, it has been so long since I've done a load of laundry with an agitator in the washing machine. If you do have one and you wash this and it comes out fine, say something in the comments so other people can know, okay? Because I'd be too scared, but I don't know. I have no clue. Anyway, so get your hooks, and then of course, you know, your everyday crochet items, scissors, needle to weave in your ends. You know, make sure you get your yarn. Now, like I said, if you're just making this blanket, one skein of Pound of Love will do you, and that is, how many yards is that? Is it 1,000? I think it's 1,000. Yeah, 1,020 yards. Of course, you are not going to go through every single yard of this. You'll have leftovers. But if you're making the entire set, get 2 skeins, an entire set. By that I mean the pillow cover, the overalls, and the beanie. I am trying my hardest to think. Okay, so after I washed and dried this, I did hit it with some steam from my iron just to give it a little more of a nice, pretty, the way it lays out, because the corner, okay, so if you look at this square, right, this is our raised double crochet square, right, and when we stitch 4 of them together, what that does, the 4 corners of the squares that you weaved in, it kind of gives it like this wave look, and it's actually really cool looking. But if you don't want that, what I did is took a little steam after I washed and dried this, took a little steam, and then just got that, you know, to lay right, and that's all I did to it. Nothing special. So I did slip stitch. Ooh, that was sharp. I did slip stitch this together using my 6mm when I show you in the tutorial, but you can stitch these squares together however you want to, okay? Let me double check my notes again to make sure I talked about everything. Yeah, that is it. All right, get your guys' supplies together and let's get started. All right, so to get started, That was an old slip knot. Go ahead and get a slip knot on your hook. And as always, guys, make sure you got plenty of tail to weave in. And we're going to start with a chain of 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come down to that very first chain, and we're going to work a slip, I just about said something else, slip stitch to form a ring right in there. And then what I like to do is get my fingertips in that ring right there. Get in there and then pull this tail tight, because we're going to close up that chain that we just slip stitched into. Go ahead and get them out of the way. And chain 1. And for row 1, we're going to work over our tail and into this ring. We're going to do 3 double crochet, chain 2. So 1, 2, if you guys can hear that, my cats are fighting behind me. 1, 2, and there is 3. Chain 2. Go back in there, 3 double crochet. 1, 2. Still make sure you're over your tail. 3. Chain 2. So what we're doing is we're building our corners. So we have 1 corner, 2 corner, 3 corner, 4 corner. That's what the chain 2 spaces are. So right there was our second corner. So we're going to go back into our ring with 3 double crochet. 1, 2, 3. Chain 2. There's our third corner. So go back into the ring with 3 double crochet. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 2, and that's the end of round 1. So now we're going to slip stitch to that first double crochet, which I'm just now realizing I probably shouldn't be using this white yarn, because I think it might be a little hard to see, but we're going to slip stitch right into that first double crochet. Right in there. And that is the end of round 1. Alright, so to move on to row 2, we're going to chain 1, and we're going to go right back into that double crochet that we just slip stitched into. So just go right back in there with 1 double crochet. Now into this next double, we're going to front post double crochet around that post. So we're going to yarn over, go in on the right, out on the left, pull up your loop, and work a double crochet. And then we're going to double crochet into the next double. So if you have a hard time, you know what? I'm going to stop. I'm going to go get a different color yarn, because I think this is too hard for you guys to see. So I will be right back. Okay, this is easier for you guys to see. Alright, so I did my round 1. There's my last chain 4, and right there is the top of my first double. So I'm going to slip stitch into there. Alright, now to move on to round 2, chain 1, and I'm going to go right back into that double with 1 double crochet. Just like that. And oop. And now the front post double crochet, I didn't say this on the white yarn, but when you work your front post double crochets throughout this whole pattern, so all of these, I want you to follow this little hint. If you work your front post double crochets just like a normal double crochet, what's going to happen, let me find a good one of my blocks to show you. See that dip right there? That's because these aren't as loose as they need to be. So if I pull on them like that, it'll kind of loosen them up. But if you work them too tight, they're all just going to bunch up and look really, it's going to have like a warped look to the block. So when you work your front posts, I want you to yarn over, and then just like I showed you a second ago, go in on the right and out on the left, pull up your loop and then just pull it up just a tad bit and then work that double crochet. And all that does is just give this a little more height, and it keeps it from, you know, bunching up all this like this. Like if it looked like that, because all of these double crochets would be tight, it'd look like that. And that's not what we want. We want them nice and even and loose so they can all be the same height. Alright, so now we're going to double crochet into that next double, but we got to make sure we don't work into the double that we just front post around. So if you rotate your work and you look to the back, you should see the V of the, my phone is not going into focus. Hold on just one moment. Alright, that should be better. So we rotate and you can find that V, the top of the double that we just slip stitched around, and then to the next one, or you just follow that post up, and then slightly to the right of that post is the top of the double crochet. Double crochet into that one. And then into the chain 2 space, we're going to work 2 double, chain 2, 2 double. So 1, 2, chain 2, go right back in there with 2 double. 1 and 2. Alright, so now we double into that next double. Front post around the next. And just pull that up a tad bit and then work that double. Double into the next double. And that is what we're going to repeat around. 2 double, chain 2, 2 double into the chain 2 corner. Chain 2, get some slack. Go back in there with 2 double. Double into your next double. Front post around the next. Oh, sorry. Make sure you pull it up just a bit. Work that double. Double into the next. Next chain 2 space, 2 double, chain 2, 2 double. Double into that next double. Front post around the next double. Pull it up just a tad. Work that double. Double crochet into the next double. And into the last chain 2, we're going to work our 2 double, chain 2, 2 double. Alright, and now to end round 2, we are going to slip stitch into our first double crochet right in there. And if you look, let me get a needle real quick. Alright, if you look right there, that is, my phone is bouncing just a tad. Right there, that little bar, that is the slip stitch. There, let me slide that bar down just a tad. And then right there, there's our chain 1, and there's our first double. So right into that first double crochet is where we slip stitch. And that is the end of round 2. Alright, so to move on to round 3, we are going to chain 1, and now we're going to start working 3 front double crochets instead of double crochets, you know, in the middle right there. So what we're going to do is around the double crochet that we just slip stitched into. So I'm going to break this little area down right here. So when we pull our corner stitches, the chain 2 double, chain 2, 2 double, when you pull that out of the way, and then that front post and the next double, pull that out of the way. What we have right here, where's my needle? So we have, right there is the bar of our slip stitch. There's our chain 1, and then here is the slip stitch that we just worked into the top of this double crochet right here. What we're going to do is we're going to work a front post around the double crochet only. We don't want to work around that chain or the slip stitch. So when you pull that apart, there should be a little hole right there, right between the post of our double and that slip stitch in that chain 1. So if I pull that apart, see that little bitty hole that pops up right there? See my finger going in and out from behind it? That is where we're going to insert our hook and work the first front post double around that double. And this is the only row that we're going to do this on. The rest of the pattern will be actually front posting around a front post, so we're not going to have any trouble trying to find it, okay? It's just this row is a little bit of a bear right there. So go ahead, slip stitch, chain 1, and then we're going to yarn over, and I'm going to go in that little hole on the right and come out on the left, and then just like I showed you, pull that up just a tad and then work that double. So now when we, you know, after we work this, all this round 3, round 4, we can see exactly the post that we have to work on. This is the only row that we're going to do that, okay? All right, so now we front post around the next front post. Pull it up just a tad, and then front post around the next double crochet. And now we double crochet into the next 2 double. And then into the chain 2 corner, we work our 2 double, chain 2, 2 double. So go right in there with 2 double, chain 2, 2 double. And now we double into the next 2 double. Front post around the next double. Pull it up just a tad. Front post around the next front post. Don't forget to pull it up. Front post around the next double crochet. And then double crochet into the next 2. And now we're to our chain 2 corner, so we do our 2 double, chain 2, 2 double. Chain 2, back in there with 2 double. All right, now we double into each, double into the next 2 double. Here and into the next one, just like that. And now we front post around the next double. Pull it up just a tad. I've got a knot in my skein. There it went. Where am I? Okay, front post around the next front post. And front post around the next double. Double into the next 2. And then into the chain 2 space with our 2 double, chain 2, 2 double. Chain 2, go back in there, 1 and 2. Now you can see that we've got our setup for our little row of front posts. Okay. All right, now we double into the next 2 double. 1 and 2. Front post around that next double crochet. Ooh, I just about worked that front post without pulling it up just a tad. Front post around the next one. Well, I'm sorry. I should say front post around the next front post. And front post around the next double crochet. Double into the next 2. 2. Alright, now we are to our last chain 2 space, so we work our 2 double, chain 2, 2 double, back in there with 2 double, alright, and we end the row with working a double into the last 2 double crochet. 1 and 2. Alright, so now we slip stitch to the top of our first double, well, our first front post, and if you look, there is our bar right here, right out at the back of my hook, that little line right there. There's the bar of our slip stitch, that little heart right there. There's our chain 1, and then at the top, there's our first front post double. So go ahead and slip stitch right into that. And there is the end of row 3. It's a little hard with this yarn to see the front posts, but they'll pop out once we get done. Okay, so where's my hook? Here we go. Let's move on to row 4. So for row 4, we chain 1. And now we're going to front post around the very first front post, same one we just slip stitched into, and you can see it laying right on top of all your work. So just yarn over and go right around it, pull it up just a tad, and then work that double, or finish the double, and then front post around the next 2 front post doubles. Right there. Alright, now we're going to double crochet. We're going to double crochet into the next 4 double crochet. So basically all for this round we're going to do the exact same thing that we just did. The only difference is that we're going to work into 4 instead of just 2. Double crochet into 4 instead of just 2 to work our way to the chain 2 corner. So double into the next 4 and then into our corner, our chain 2 corner, we work the same 2 double, chain 2, 2 double. Chain 2, 2 double. Alright, so now we're going to double into the next 4 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Front post around the next 3 front post double. Don't forget to pull it up just a tad. Just a tad right there. There's 1, there's 2, and there is number 3. And double into the next 4 double until you get to that chain 2 corner. Chain 2 corner space. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Into your chain 2 corner, 2 double, chain 2, 2 double. Chain 1 and 2, and go back in there, 2 double. Alright, so I think you guys can handle the rest of this round by yourself. Double into the next 4, front post around the next 3, double into the next 4, into your chain 2 corner, you work your 2 double, chain 2, 2 double. And you just repeat that around, and I will work mine off camera, and I will come back once I get these 4 double crocheted worked into, okay? So I'm going to get my little half done, and I will be right back. Okay, so I worked that around. I got to my last 4, I double crocheted my last 4, and to end our round, once again, we're going to slip stitch into the very first front post. So just go right over and slip stitch into that first front post double crochet. Okay, so now we're going to move on to round 5, and round 5 we're going to do the same thing we just did. The only difference is we have 6 double crochet to work into before our corner. So we're going to chain 1 front post around that front post you just slip stitched into the top of, right around there. Pull it up. Front post around the next 2 front post. I didn't pull that up very high, but alright, so now we're going to double into the next 6 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that gets us to our chain 2 corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Alright, and into the chain 2 we work our 2 double, chain 2, 2 double. Okay, so once again, I think you guys can handle this round by yourself. Like I said, we're doing the same thing we've been doing. The only difference is we have 2 more double crochet to work into. Instead of 4, we have 6 to get to our 3 front post, and then 6 to get to our next corner. And then just like every other round, our corner is chain 2 double, chain 2, 2 double. Alright, so work your corner, double crochet into 6, front post around the 3 front posts, double into the next 6, work your corner, double into the next 6, work your 3 front post around your 3 front post, double into the 6, get to that next corner, the chain 2 corner, work your 2 double, chain 2, 2 double, and just repeat that around, okay? So I will get mine done, and I will meet you on these after I get these last 6 double crocheted into, okay? So I will be right back. Okay, so I've made it back around on round 5, and I've doubled into the last 2, 4, 6, and to end round 5 we are just going to slip stitch, just about pulled my finger into that, slip stitch into the top of the first front post double, and that is the end of round 5. Now you can really see those posts popping out. Alright, so round 6 we are going to do the exact same thing. The only difference is after we work our 3 front posts, we should have 2 more double crochet to work into before we get to that chain 2. So we should have 8. 3, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so let's go ahead and work this first part. Chain 1 front post around that same front post double that you just slip stitched into, pull it up a tad bit, and then front post around the next 2 front post doubles, alright, now you just double into each double until that chain 2 space, work your 2 double, chain 2, 2 double, double into the next 8, work your 3 front post, double into the next 8, 2 double, chain 2, 2 double into your chain 2 corner, and repeat that around, and I will meet you after I work my last 8 double crochet, okay? I think you guys can handle that. It's literally the same thing we've been doing. There's just 2 extra stitches. All right, go ahead and, pardon me, get your round done, and I will get mine done, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I just finished round 6. So I'm going to slip stitch to the top of that first front post double, just like that. And there is the end of round 6. Okay, so once you have finished round 6 and you slip stitch to that first front post double crochet, go ahead and chain 1, pull up a loop, and cut. And then you can go ahead and weave in your ends. Ooh, I just about pulled that out. The one thing I do want to say, on my blocks, I ended up closing my center ring that we worked around. I think it would look good also if you just leave it open. So if you want to pull your center tail nice and tight and weave that hole shut like mine are, you can do that. If you don't want to and you just kind of want to leave it open just a little bit like that, just thread that tail on your needle and weave it in gently. You know, don't pull it too tight, and then just bring it back and leave it open a little bit. But you don't have to. Totally up to you. You can do whatever you want to do. But get your ends weaved in. And once you get all of your blocks made, like I said in the beginning, I did 35. Let me show you how we're going to stitch these together. Now you can totally, however you want to, stitch your blocks together. You can slip stitch, you can invisible, what do they call that? Invisible, connect them, I don't know. And it does not matter. You can do it however you want to. For me, I am going to choose to loosely slip stitch all mine together. And I am going to go up a hook size to my 6mm, which of course I don't see, so just 1 minute. Okay, I found it. So what I'm going to do is, like I said, I'm going to have my Afghan be 5 by 7 blocks. So what I'm going to do is work the long rows, or I guess I should say those are columns, like work the long columns. I'm going to slip stitch those and then slip stitch the rows. So I'm going to have 1, 2, 3. I'm just going to lay it out so you guys can see what I'm trying to say here, because you guys know I'm the best with words, right? Alright. Alright, so let's say here's our 5 by 7. I'm going to do these long strips right through here, all of these, and then I'm going to come back and do the shorter rows. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 2 blocks, put them wrong sides together. I am going to get a slip knot on my hook. I'm going to line up my chain 2s, and I'm going to go straight into the chain 2 space and just connect with the slip stitch. And then with my 2 blocks together, you know what, let me, just for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to use my blue on my white so you can see better what I'm doing. Okay, sorry about that. With my 2 blocks together, front sides sandwiched together, I am going to slip stitch through the back loop of each block. So the loop facing me on this block, this loop, well, here's the top of the stitch, there you can see it, the back loop that's facing me, and then on this one, the loop that's away from me. So the 2 loops, when you put your blocks together, the 2 loops that are touching, I'm not going to work into. It's the back one of this one, so the farthest loop away from me, and then on this one, it's the loop that's closest to me. So I'm going to go stitch for stitch, not through the chain 2, just the double crochets in the front posts. I'm going to go through the loop closest to me. Oh, well, the only reason it's like this is because this is just my my sample to show you guys. The back loop of the first double and the farthest loop away from me on the next double. And loosely slip stitch. And then just go stitch for stitch, back loop, slip stitch. But like I said, you guys can stitch your blocks together however you want to do it. If you have a way that you prefer, go ahead. It doesn't matter. As long as you get them connected and they look beautiful, it's all that matters. So just like this, all the way across. And I'm not going to do anything special with the front post doubles. I'm going to follow the same technique I'm doing right now. If I could get to them a little faster. Okay, so just like the normal double crochets, I'm just going to do the back loops of each double. Dang it. There we go. And here. And here. Then, when I turn it out, it'll have that nice ridge. Just like that. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and just jump over to show you how I'm going to get to the next set of blocks. Alright, so I'll take my next set, line up the chain 2. Don't pay attention that I'm skipping all this. I'm just jumping ahead to show you what I'm trying to do. Okay, so I've made it all the way to the next chain 2. I'm going to slip stitch through that chain 2. And then I'm going to get my next set, right sides, sandwich the right sides together, pick up chain 2, and I'm just going to slip stitch right into the chain 2 space, slip stitch my blocks together, and then continue with back loop to back loop. Okay, and then you work that all the way across, and once you've made it across, just chain 1, pull up a loop, and fasten off. And then start your next row. But yeah, so it is that easy. Or like I said, you guys can do whatever you want to do to slip stitch or stitch or, you know, single crochet your blocks together. I'm just going to loosely slip stitch with my 6mm, all 35 of these. So I'm going to have 5 by 7. All right. So I am going to get my blocks stitched together. You guys get your 35 made, or however many you need, and stitch yours together and then come back, okay? Alright, I will be right back. Alright, so once you have your afghan all put together, all your ends weaved in, I did run mine through the washer and dryer on just a normal setting. I do not have an agitator in my washing machine, so if you do, I would suggest you probably just hand wash it, or you could just steam it with a steam iron. However, I just wanted my stitches to loosen up. This is actually my pillow panel, my afghan. I've already got it all completed, so I needed a little sample to work with. But anyway, so here is how my blocks look, and granted, yes, the blocks do kind of bunch up a little bit. So what I did after I washed and dried mine, I turned it over, and then I took the steam setting on my iron and just went over each strip of blocks, gave it a little bit of a stretch, let it air dry, and it's perfect. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we are going to add this little border. So this border consists of 1, and then under these doubles right here is a second row. Well, right there's the second single crochet you can see, and then this little shell right here is the third row, okay? But it's super easy, and the cool thing I love about this is even if your let me rephrase that, your chain 3 count comes out wrong, it doesn't matter. It's not gonna hurt a thing. All right, so I'm gonna use my little pillow panel as a little sample piece for you guys. So what I want you to do is take your Afghan and lay it down with the double crochets facing up. So the top of your Afghan is facing up. Sorry, I did not mean to just say that. All right, so with the top of your Afghan facing up, we're gonna attach with a slip stitch into this top right corner with a slip stitch. So get a slip knot. Oh, I forgot to mention, we are going to go up to a size 6mm hook, okay? Because we want to keep this nice and loose. All right, go up to the top right chain 2 corner. We're going to go in there and attach with a slip stitch, chain 1. I'm going to pull that tail just to tighten that down, and go right back in there with a single crochet. Let me get some slack. Alright, so now we are going to chain 3, and we're going to skip 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3, single crochet into the next. Chain 1, 2, 3, skip 3, single crochet into the next. Chain 1, 2, 3, skip 3, single crochet into the next. Now I had to across the top, down the side, like across the top, down the sides, and across the bottom, I had to 2 times, instead of skipping 3, skip 4. So I'm gonna go ahead and just do mine right here. 1, 2, 3, skip 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to go ahead and single crochet into the next. It doesn't matter where you work that, how you work it. We just have to skip 2 times, skip 4 instead of 3, or our count doesn't come out right at the end. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, skip 1, 2, 3, single crochet into the next. Now I'm going to keep doing this all the way across because I want to show you what we're going to do across the connecting chain 2 corners right here. So go ahead, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, single crochet into the next. And I'm going to go ahead and do my other 4 right here. 1, 2, 3, skip 1, 2, 3, 4, single crochet into the next. Now we'll come out perfect at the end. All right, so we're going to chain 1, 2, 3, and skip 1, 2, and the chain 2 corners that we connect our blocks, that is going to count as a stitch. So instead of going 1, 2, skip 3, and then going to the next, we're actually going to consider that as a stitch that we're skipping. So skip 1, 2, that chain 2 is 3, single crochet into the next stitch, which is going to be the chain 2. And remember, yours may not come out like this if you didn't do the skip 4 at the same spots I did. Just as long as you count these chain 2s as stitches that you would count and or work into. So chain 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, single into the next. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, single crochet into the next. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, single crochet into the next. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, single crochet into the next. 2, 3, skip 1, 2, 3, single crochet into the next. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, single crochet into the next. I'm about there. One, 2, 3. Okay, so sorry about that. Chain 3, skip 3, single to the next. So 1, 2, 3, and we have 1, That's a little wonky one because that's where I slip stitch to finish the round. And there's 3, so it goes straight into that chain 2 corner. And that's how we want it to come out. So if you don't come out right, go ahead and pull back and maybe, you know, skip another stitch just to make sure that you're skipping 3 and single crocheting into that corner. And then that's what we repeat all the way around. Chain 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, single. And remember what I said, you know, across the top, down each of the sides, and across the bottom, 2 times I had to skip 4 instead of 3 just to get my stitch to come out right at the corners, so I could skip 3, single crochet into the corner. Okay, so that's what you're going to repeat all the way around. Okay, remember, even your front posts are nothing different, and these chain 2 that we connected the corners with, that's nothing different. You consider that a stitch to skip or a stitch to work into, both of them. So the way mine came out, I came out with 31 chain 3s across the top. Where's my paper? 43 chain 3s down each side, and then 30 across the bottom. And the reason being that I was 1 less at the bottom than I was at the top because how I started it. But so I had 31 chain 3, 43 down each side, and then 30 across the bottom. If you don't come out exactly like that, it is not a big deal. It is not going to hurt a thing. Okay, so repeat that all the way around, and I want you to slip stitch to this first single crochet. So what I am going to do, instead of working all the way around on this, once you make it all the way around, you're going to skip your last 3 stitches and then slip stitch to that first single crochet to end round 1. And round 2, we're going to chain 1 and single crochet right back into that same single that you just slip stitched into. And for round 2, all we're going to do is chain 3, single crochet into the single, chain 3, single crochet into the single, chain 3, single into the next single. And that's all you're going to repeat all the way around your afghan. We're not going to do anything special on the corners, still working the chain 3s. But that's all you're going to do all the way around, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and work across my row and then come back, and I'm going to show you how we work the very last round. Alright, I'll be right back. Alright, so you have worked that all the way around, and all you're going to do is slip stitch to that very first single crochet, chain 1. Oh my goodness, I'm not even on camera. Good grief. Pretend like I've got my work done here. I'm just showing you a little sample. Okay, so you've worked all the way around for round 2. Slip stitch to that first single crochet, chain 1, and go right back in there with a single crochet. And then into the chain 3, or I should say around the chain 3, you're going to work a single, half double. I got to check my work because I can't remember if I worked 2 double. So there's a single, half, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So work a single crochet, a half double, and go right back in there with 3 double crochet. 1, 2, 3. Go right around there again with a half and a single. Skip that single crochet, and you're going to repeat that around the next chain 3. Single, half double, 3 double, half double, and go back in there with a single. into the next chain 3, single, half double, 3 double, half double, and a single. Okay, and I want you to repeat that all the way to this corner. Once you get to this last chain 3 space before this corner, go ahead and stop, and I'll show you guys what to do. So I'm going to work my way across, and when I get here I'll be right back. Okay, so I have worked that all across my work, and now I should have told you guys, and I didn't think about it, I should have told you guys that for every single crochet you work into the chain 2 corner, that is technically now your new corner stitch. So marking each of those single crochet in the corner with a stitch marker is what I should have told you guys to do. I apologize for that. So into this first one, you know, that one, and then all around you mark that center single crochet. Sorry, I apologize for that. I messed up. All right, so the only thing that you are going to do different on this round for your corners is, instead of working anything into that single crochet, like, I mean, shell wise, all we're going to do is just work a single, and then you just go straight into the single, half double, 3 double, half double, single into each of your chain 3s all the way around until you get to that next corner, and then single crochet into that corner, single crochet, and then continue with your shell into your chain, around your chain 3 all the way around to that next corner, single crochet into that corner all the way back to the beginning, and then once you get back to this very first single crochet of the round, slip stitch into it, chain 1, pull up a loop, cut, and you are done. Oh, knocked all kinds of stuff over. And you are done with your baby afghan. Now with my border, I didn't block it, or I haven't ran it through the washer. All I did is just took the stitches and just pulled on them like that to get them to lay nice and neat and pretty. And that is it. Let me get this. I need to weave in my ends of my border. Don't look at that. All right, and there is your baby blanket. Awesome. Oh, this is so adorable to me. All right, that is it for this one. In the description box is a link to the matching pillow, is a link to the pardon me, the matching hat that I made for this set, and the little overalls that I made for this set too. All right, so thank you guys for watching. Hit that thumbs up if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't so you don't miss what's next, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.